Hello everyone, a new season of Stranger Things has finally arrived. It's been about 3 or 4 years. It's felt like a decade, really. Like, let's be honest, it feels like a decade since Stranger Things has been out. I mean, the world has literally been to upside down and back since Stranger Things 3. We had the pandemic, we had just everything happen. Finally, they filmed it, and I was worried about the gap in like the kids aging and everything, but we have part 1, which consists of the first 7 episodes that came out today on Netflix, and part 2, which is the last 2 episodes, that's going to be July 1st now. So, like, I'm excited. I stayed up. I didn't watch it early morning, but I got up, ate breakfast, and then put on Netflix, and I just barely got done. Some of the episodes are even longer than I thought, but here it's just going to be my brief thoughts, not really a review, but just my thoughts on this season. And I will talk about spoilers at the end in a separate section, but this is for any fans out there who have yet to see it or have seen it. For those out there who've watched Stranger Things 4, let me know what you thought about this season overall, some of your favorite moments and stuff like that, down in the comments below. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. As you know, I am a huge Stranger Things fan. I'm an early adopter of this show, even before it was popular. Like, the first weekend that Stranger Things came out in 2016, I watched it, fell in love with it immediately, and then it just kind of spread through word of mouth and blew up once Stranger Things 2 came out. 3 was a massive summer hit, and now we have a spring break season, but at the start of summer. And yeah, the Duffer Brothers go Elm Street with this season, and it even has Robert Englund. I love Robert Englund in this. I love the villain Vecna. He is one of the most terrifying villains yet. It's not just a monster, it's someone with intelligence, someone who toys with people, and it's just pure evil. I love it. I love how they start this season. We get to see Matthew Modine return in flashbacks as Papa. We get to see what happens in like 1979, and it's crazy how they de-age Millie Bobby Brown as 11. Like, I was freaked out. I was like, this is just like Stranger Things 1. And I love the start of it. If anything I have against this season, the story is all over the place. And some of the story feels drawn out and just too long and unnecessary or repetitive. And some of the characters, the way they have some of their motivations and actions feel a bit forced. And I don't know. There was a lot of hints about Will's sexual orientation in this show. You know, they called him a fairy. Winona Ryder's Joyce said he was different than other kids. Here, I can see it going one way or another, but they need to make up their mind, because it was just like, well, does he have a thing for Mike or not? Because it really strongly suggests that he has a thing for Mike, but I was just like, this feels forced for some reason, even though we had Easter eggs to it in previous seasons. But I always read it as like Will was stuck in the upside down, he got out, and he just wasn't growing up as fast as everyone else, as his friends, and that's the way I read it. But who knows where it's going to go. They don't give a definite answer, but it's not that it's a bad thing one way or the other. It's just, it feels forced right now, and it was just a bit boring. Every time it got to that stuff, I just felt like the story just lost some momentum every time. And this isn't the only Netflix show that dealt with that. Lucifer was kind of like that with like all the other side stories outside of like Chloe and Lucifer. But just the whole California thing, I don't think they really should have focused on the Byers. Like Joyce, Byers, Murray, Hopper. I love Hopper being alive, but he maybe should have stayed dead. I don't know. Those stories just felt like they're all over the place. They weren't in conjunction with what was going on in Hawkins. Maybe it's just me loving like small town mysteries. That being said, I do like the Hopper stuff. It is pretty much like The Great Escape in Russia. David Harbour, he has a buzz cut and everything, as you saw in the teaser trailer. That stuff was kind of cool. 11's storyline, she gets bullied at this new school. Seeing the adjustment is just heartbreaking at the beginning, and seeing her deal with life without powers is something completely different that we have not seen before. And that's one thing I have to say, that it adds a level of danger that we don't have like a superhero like 11 to face the bad guy. Hawkins is a different story. Lucas is now in the basketball team. He's with the athletic people, and in a way he's kind of sold out. In another way, he's just being tired of being bullied. So like he leaves the group. The group then finds this new character, this guy named Eddie, who is the leader of the Hellfire Club. That's right, reference to X-Men comics. I love that, seeing Lucas' sister now hang out with Dustin and Mike. That's something very interesting. Other than that, we get to see them interact with Nancy, Robin, and Steve. I love seeing Family Video. May they rest in peace. The pandemic took them out. I wish I got one of those vests for Stranger Things, but I love seeing video stores. It brought back some nostalgia. The music, seeing skate rinks. But the mystery in Hawkins relating to the new villain Vecna is what really drives the series and creates a lot of scares. Max, the actress who plays Max, does an incredible job. I love what she did on the Fear Street shows and the previous seasons, but this is probably Max's best season yet. And she's dealing with the loss of Billy. She's not with Billy's dad anymore. He left him, so her mom is basically poor in like this trailer park. So we get to start off in disarray. Everybody's disconnected growing up. They're basically on different pages at the beginning. And it's nice seeing how they come together and deal with this new threat. The budget is massive on this. It feels like a blockbuster movie, and I love Robert Englund in this, and I love the villain. It definitely gave me some Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. And that's no accident, because Nancy, and then like Nancy Thompson and Nightmare on Elm Street. So like, yeah, it's pretty cool seeing like the Elm Street connections here. It is dark and scary, and I love it. It feels more like the tone of the first two seasons. Season 3 wasn't bad as a summer blockbuster, but it felt too comedic. Everybody, the way they acted, felt off. This one feels more in line with the first two seasons, especially with Hopper and all the characters. Overall, it has a wonderful 80s soundtrack, and I liked it for the most part. The beginning was really good. The middle kind of starts to draw out a bit. There's a lot of repetitive scenes, a lot of back and forth. I think it's just because there's like characters in different places, but also there's a huge cast, and there's just too many characters that it's a lot to juggle. But that's not to say that they don't juggle it successfully. Once all the pieces start coming together, by the 7th episode, it was beautiful. There's a scene that reminds me a lot of Zack Snyder's Watchmen, and you'll see it when you do. But for those who've seen the season, you know what I mean. It's just beautiful how some of the stories that you don't think are related are in fact related, and how they come together. And that right there is great storytelling. I just would have loved the script to be a little bit tighter, flow more smoothly, like the first 3 seasons, especially the first 2 seasons. I'm a fan of anything and everything Stranger Things, and I love this season. I give it like an A so far. Like, I love it. But I don't think anything's going to top the first 2 seasons. Or maybe it's just like the fall, winter vibe of it. I don't know. But overall, it was an enjoyable season, first part, and I cannot wait to see how it ends. The next one's going to be like an hour and a half, and the finale is going to be like a movie, 2 hours and 30 minutes, something like that. Like, that is incredible. I don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot set up here where I can see why it's going to be such an epic finale. And to top it off, that's not the final season. There's still one more season to go, and I hope it ends on a high. There are some other writers here involved other than the Duffer Brothers in some of the episodes, and you could tell because something about it felt like off, or it wasn't as fluid as it was when it was like the Duffer Brothers. But overall, Shawn Levy and some other directors do a fantastic job, and the way it's filmed is done very well. It's Stranger Things at its finest. There are just some moments that I felt held this season back compared to the previous ones, but there's other moments that were among the best of the series. The episode Dear Billy with Max and the villain Vecna, that confrontation in the cemetery was one of Stranger Things' finest moments, I would say. And that's without going into too many spoilers. That's just stuff from the trailer, so you have to see what happens, but definitely it's the Elm Street of the Stranger Things. So be sure to let me know if you're excited to watch Stranger Things 4. If you have seen it, let me know. But right now, for those who haven't seen it, I'm going to go even more into spoilers. I might have gave away some mild spoilers accidentally, but it's spoiler time. So Papa is alive. Holy shit. I thought he was dead, but then I thought back to it. Hopper wasn't dead because, they didn't show him die. And then I thought about Bob. I thought about Barb. I thought about Muse. But then I thought about Billy. And then that brought me back to Papa. We saw a Demogorgon attack him, but we didn't see him physically die. And in horror movie rules, if you don't see someone die, they ain't dead. So that was a surprise. And seeing how he comes back in episode 5 really shocked me. I thought that was going to be the stinger for this season. I love Vecna, what they did there. That twist with him being number 1. Seeing how Eleven's flashback story ties into the villain's origin was incredible, and that scene there with the music was totally like Watchmen. I loved it. Steve Harrington, I thought he was going to bite the dust for a while. He still may. Nancy may. That ending was shocking, and how the victims fall asleep and then wake up, and then how Vecna targets their trauma and suffering and pain and uses it against them is very evil. He very much he was Freddy Krueger. Even to the Vecna's father with a fedora hat, I'm like, it's Freddy Krueger. And Robert Englund's cameo was great. his eyes being sewn up, like, it was brutal. Seeing Robin and Nancy work together was fun. Murray and Joyce, I love Murray and the humor, but like that was really outlandish in the prison, and I loved it, but I was just like, okay, Joyce is just doing a lot of crazy stuff now, and it doesn't have that grounded feeling that season 1 had. But that's just nitpicking. Seeing Argyle. Yeah, Argyle makes me think of Die Hard, but like, yeah, he's a surfer stoner guy, pizza delivery guy. Susie, that stuff with her father and her being a hacker with a War Games connection was priceless. There's a lot of references to movies and stuff, but and then the new jock guy, that was crazy seeing him and how like they basically had a commentary on like the Satanism controversy of the 80s. Dungeons and Dragons and like heavy metal causes satanic cults with the Hellfire Club, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, you look at all the stuff going on in our world, and it's like, yeah, I guess it wasn't the heavy metal. But anyway, Eddie's character is cool. We didn't get to see him do the guitar solo yet, like we did in the trailer. That might be in July, but I liked his character. That was a cool new addition. Seeing them in high school was the right move, and overall the music, very much 1986 stuff. How they used Running Up That Hill with Max, that end of episode 5, I really thought she was gonna die. Like, the editing was just chef's kiss there in that entire sequence, as well as like episode 7. And yeah, how they did the de-aging with 11, the backstory there, Papa. And then seeing like the US government try to go after Paul Reiser's character was something very interesting there, and the methods they used. Overall, I'm excited to see how this season concludes and ultimately how season 5 concludes. And that was a twist seeing Vecna's origin and how he was number 1. It's just like, that was awesome. That tied the whole thing together. And I was like, okay, now I see what they're doing. I still think there could have been a more concise version of this story. But hey, man, it's Stranger Things. And as a fan, I'd rather have some Stranger Things rather than no Stranger Things. And I've greatly missed this show. It might fare well. It might fare better with me on repeated viewings and with the ending intact, but it was a long binge. I sat down for like 7-8 hours. I can't feel my legs. I need to walk. Like, I'm just like, okay, I sat way too long and ate way too much sugar to be so inactive. I need to go jogging. But overall, it was excellent. And seeing how the Watergate worked, no pun intended, seeing how they explained the Upside Down and then the time difference with it being still in 1983 was a shocking twist. Overall, we finally got answers to some of our questions and why this stuff keeps happening and the origin of everything. And I cannot wait to see how it all culminates. I have to give this season an A. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Stranger Things 4. Feel free to let me know some of your favorite moments down in the comments below, some of your favorite episodes. And what did you think of this season? Did you hate it? Did you think it was a mess? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Was it good but not as good as the previous? Let me know down in the comments below. In the meantime, you can subscribe, but also check out these other Stranger Things related videos. Stay safe and healthy down there in the Upside Down.